right? This is what this is about. It's taking time for yourself. I'm giving you permission right now to take time for yourself. I'm giving you permission right now to look at your priority list and decide what you need to say no to or not yet to. Well, welcome back. It is Matt, and I need to drop some cold, hard truth on you right now. Here's reality. If you don't take the time, you will never have the time. I need to get on my little soapbox for a moment. Whenever I have a group coaching call, which are on Fridays, by the way, I start off the call with my soapbox Sunday moment. And I don't know, just the two S's in a row sounds better than like soapbox Friday. It just doesn't work, right? But I need to get on my soapbox right now with you, something I'm super passionate about. And I talk about all the time in group coaching calls and workshops that I do and one-on-one coaching that I'm doing with all these leaders in different companies. And the truth is that if you don't take the time, you'll never have the time. You hear me talk all the time about like the time is our most precious commodity. We know it, right? You've heard it. That's nothing new. But I cannot tell you how many conversations I have with clients of mine, how I constantly hear like, I don't have the time. I don't have the time. And I'm going to tell you right now, that is a load of absolute BS. And I won't say the word, I'll just use the initials, but it's a bunch of BS. And maybe you need to hear that today, that you have more control than you think, right? That we need to use our time wisely, that we need to wake up with a purpose, that we need to go throughout our day with a purpose of how we're utilizing our time. And the things that are serving us, we keep doing, we double down on. The things that aren't, we have to say no, or we have to say not yet. This is my soapbox Sunday moment. You're right in the middle of it. And it's interesting to me, like when I look back over the past couple of years, a lot of people would ask me if I played golf. Like, Matt, do you play golf? My answer? I don't have the time. I mean, a round takes 4 or 5 hours. By the time you warm up and get home, that's a full day. This is literally what I would say. Here is the reality. I don't really play golf, or I didn't until like a couple weeks ago, by the way. The last 6 weeks, I've really ramped it up. But here's reality. I should have answered that question with, I don't take the time. No, I have time. I just don't take the time. I don't allocate to it. I don't really want to spend 5 hours on the course. That's not something I want to do. It's not in my priority list right now. But I felt like this pressure to answer it with like, I just don't have time. Things are so busy, as if I'm appearing like more important. I don't know. Was I trying to appear more important? I don't know what it was, but that's how I would answer. And now I've switched it to like, if people ask, go back like 6 weeks prior, Matt, do you golf a lot? But you know what? I honestly don't take the time. I like golf. I play every so often, but I don't really take the time to do it. I became more comfortable over the years just saying that, because that's the truth. I was busy with other things. I was busy going to kids' sports and games and spending time with my wife and doing all these things that were more important to me at that point than playing golf. The last 6 weeks, I've made more time for it. And that's because of a very deliberate choice that I made to go do it. So now people are like, oh, do you golf a lot? And I'm like, yeah, well, I golf a lot more now because I'm actually practicing and making time for it. It's amazing, isn't it? Then I enjoy it, and I get to go with friends, and I get to go with my son, and I get to do all these things. Matt, do you travel with your kids to sporting events, stuff like that? Actually, yes. I just got back from Philadelphia with my wife and my daughter, and we got to go watch her play in a tournament in Philadelphia. And I worked a little bit when I was there, but it was mainly just kind of hanging out and watching games the whole time. And it was awesome. I made time for that because that's what's important for me. And I think sometimes we feel this pressure that we have to live up to some sort of expectation, of societal expectation, or the business, or what our friends think of us, of where we're spending time and where we're not. And the reality is, like, we have to figure out what's important to us and then spend the time doing that and making deliberate choices and being truthful with people of like, you know what, I'm not going to spend time there. I'm going to spend time here. And I don't know if maybe I used to say that because I felt bad if like I wasn't doing something and I was trying to make up an excuse where I didn't really want to go to that thing, but I'll go over here. But isn't it just better to be truthful of like, this is where we're choosing to spend time? I think back to business, right? When we set priorities. And I remember a couple of years ago with this business, I was getting myself in trouble because I was all over the place with priorities, all over the place. So we could do this and that, and then like shiny object, I'd see that and I'd be like, ooh, let's do that. And then a squirrel would run by and I'm like, ooh, let's do that. And then all of a sudden we've got this massive list of to-dos. So it's not even priorities anymore. It's just a massive list of to-dos and a wish list and all these things. And I actually had one of our teammates call me out on it and be like, you're all over the place. We have so many competing priorities. We need to start focusing. I'm like, darn it, you're right. Like, we need to do that. And so we sat down and came down up with these 4 to 5 priorities where that was going to be the focus. And it's something that I've said on these podcasts before, but when I look down to my right, I've got the priorities right there. I've got the goals. It's like super succinct. Like, this is what I'm doing. So if I'm not spending time in one of those areas, I'm completely wasting my time. And that's something I've had to look at and be like, okay, am I really utilizing my time well? And if I'm not doing those things, I'm not moving the business forward. I'm not impacting people's lives. I'm not positioning the company to be successful. Same thing's true on the personal side. Right? If I'm not allocating time to go work out, like if I don't go to CrossFit at 4:30 p.m. today, if I don't get in my car at like 4:25, because it literally takes like 3 minutes to drive there, and then I'm early, right? A couple minutes early. But if I don't spend the time, like, that's my fault. That's my problem. Like, that's me coming up with an excuse to say, well, I don't have time because I got to look at this email, or I got to do this, or I got to do that. No, it's a choice that we have to say, I'm going to that. Full stop, period. Like, there is no question I'm going to do that. I'm not saying by any means it's easy. I'm not saying that it's simple, but it's simpler than we think. If we take a step back from it and understand that, like, okay, when I look at today and how I'm going to use my time, I've got to use it wisely. Right? It's cliche, use your time wisely, all these sorts of things. I make fun of it. I joke about it, but it's true. The way we spend our time actually matters. And so, we just had a group coaching call about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and we were going through time, how we're using our time. What's something we should start doing that we're not doing? And I cannot tell you, I feel like every person on the call said something about something personal. It was taking time for themselves, whether it's meditation. It was like working out. It was time in prayer. It was something personal that they knew was super important, but they just weren't taking time to do it. And instead, what was happening is they were waking up, laptop opens, kids are in mayhem if they have kids trying to get all that stuff pulled together. If you don't have kids, laptop immediately goes open. Then you're like, boom, boom, boom. Got to check those emails. No, you don't. You literally don't. If it's not that important, or if you have something more important at the beginning of the day, it's doing that. If you have something that's super important towards the end of the day, it's doing that. It's making that choice. And I'm a little fiery today. You can probably tell. It's when I get on my soapbox, I get fiery. But it's all about the time that we spend. And that's why I wanted to record this podcast, to re-emphasize the importance of time. And I want you to become aware of, like, where are you making excuses? I make excuses. Everybody makes excuses of where we're spending time. We're trying to justify our value based on where we spend time. And the reality is, sometimes I justify something that's really not that important. I'm like, well, I got to work on this thing. It's urgent. Really, Matt? Is it urgent? I mean, you could drive your daughter to practice, or go watch your son skate over here, or go watch your other daughter play a game, and you have to work on this email that could be done tomorrow, or frankly, the next day after that. Come on, man. Like, we sometimes have to look ourselves in the mirror. I have to look myself in the mirror. I know I've shared the story with you that, based on our priorities on the bottom right, my wife will walk in every so often and she'll ask what I'm working on, and I'll tell her. And sometimes, and I've learned, she's trained me, right? Us males can be trained, I promise. But in the past, she'd come in and I'd be like, well, I'm working on this. And she'd look down at the board and be like, is that one of the 4 priorities? And I'm like, dang it, she's right again, right? And after I was done throwing my little pity party, I'd be like, dang it, she's right. And I'd refocus myself because I'm wasting time. We were just talking a little bit ago about the way we structure a newsletter and the way we're communicating with all of you. It's like, okay, but what do we put in it? Why are we putting it in? Is this a good use of time? Is it not? Is it like we're constantly having these conversations of how we're driving value, right? I just don't want to send out an email and say, well, I've checked the box. Send an email today to all the listeners, and send an email to all the people. Like, I want it to be quality. I want you guys to look at it, open it, read it, watch it. But if we come to a point where I'm just sending something to send something, like, no, that's not the way it works. We're not driving value. So we have to stop it, adjust, pivot. Same thing in our personal lives, right? I wanted to take a quick break from the podcast to invite you to something very special that we're up to at Matt Phillips Coaching. It's what we call the High Performance Leadership Program. Now, we know that leading people can be challenging. It also can be extremely rewarding. And one thing that I found as you progress in leadership and want to take that next level, get that promotion, continue to move up the ladder, is you have to continually invest in yourself. And you have to set yourselves apart from other people. And you have to continue to not only grow as a leader, but you have to grow your mental toughness, your mindset, because that is the one true differentiator. That's exactly why we built the High Performance Leadership Program, to come alongside you on a monthly basis, to give you the tools, training, and resources, and coaching with me to help you elevate your performance. So I invite you to head over to mattphillipscoaching.com/membership and join us today in the High Performance Leadership Program. Let's make your dreams and your career and your business a reality. If you have a choice on a weekend, and if it's a super nice day outside, to go down to the pool with your family versus sit inside and work on something for work that's really not that urgent, go to the pool. Like, do that thing. If you wake up in the morning, you're like, man, I wish I had some prayer time. I wish I had some time for meditation. I wish that I had time to read a book, or just to sit there and have a coffee and look at the view, look at the mountains, or look at the beach, or do whatever, wherever you're at. Go do that. You can do small increments of time. It doesn't have to be an hour and a half routine that you go through. It could be 15 minutes. That makes all the difference in the world. And you might be sitting there saying, like, Matt, work out in 15 minutes or do this for 15 minutes. Try it, and you will be blown away at the results if you just do it over and over and over again. Start to formulate that routine. We had this mastermind that I'm part of. They sent us out. We got something in the mail, a little gift in the mail. And I opened it, and right on the front is our revenue goal for the whole year. And they told us to do a stretch goal. So I was like, as soon as I got it, I'm like, why did I write that number down? Right? Ooh, a little scary, but exciting at the same time. And when you open it up, every day it has a prompt, a question that it asks to keep you focused on your business and thinking about things differently. And I decided as soon as I got it that the next morning I was going to wake up, and the first thing that I do in the morning is consider that prompt. I'm going to write in that journal. And every single day I've done it since, because I've made the choice that this is something, if I'm going to evolve my business and evolve as a leader, evolve as a husband, evolve as a father, evolve as, like, in all these areas of life, I've got to start thinking about things differently. I've got to allocate this 15 minutes that I spend. I spend no more than 15 minutes, by the way, in this journal, because it's important, because I need to elevate my thinking as well. And that's why I joined this mastermind in the first place, and let alone have this tool that's right there for me. Heck yes, I'm going to use it. And I'll tell you right now, some days I wake up and be like, I don't feel like doing this today. But I sit there and I tell myself, but this is for growth. Sit down and do it. And it takes less time than I think. And I feel really good after I've done it. Like, I don't think once I've got done with that, where I was like, boy, that was a waste of time. I'm always like, that was a good use of time. It's like working out. When you go to the gym, nobody really wants to go to the gym. I mean, some people do. I kind of do a little bit. But I haven't heard many people get done with a workout and be like, well, wish I wouldn't have done that. Now, it may have been a hard workout, and you're in the moment, you're like, well, that was really hard, but you feel darn good about yourself when you drive home, when you get home, because you're doing the things that matter, right? This is what this is about. It's taking time for yourself. I'm giving you permission right now to take time for yourself. I'm giving you permission right now to look at your priority list and decide what you need to say no to or not yet to. As leaders in organizations, as leaders of your life, this is your responsibility. This is your duty to take control of your time. And say no to those meetings, or say yes to that meetings, or change the time frame on that meeting and say, we're not doing an hour, we're doing 30 minutes. We're not doing 30 minutes, we're doing 3 hours, because I believe we can accomplish and finish everything in 3 hours. That's your duty, how you use your time. And on this Soapbox Sunday moment, I want to encourage you to own your time. And your boss doesn't own your time. Your family doesn't own your time. You own your time. And you have these decisions, these beautiful decisions you can make moment by moment and day by day and hour by hour of how you craft like what you want your life to look like. Right? When I'm talking to clients a lot of times, and this is difficult, right? Especially if you have a full-time job at a company, it can be difficult. Is I always tell people like, start with your personal life and then fit in the work. And people are like, ooh, whoa. Matt, but I'm getting paid by work. I got to start with that first. I got to go to all these meetings, do this, do that. I'm saying, no, take a step back for a minute and figure out what you want to accomplish personally. Put that on the calendar, it has to become non-negotiable. Then you fit in the work around it. And I'm telling you right now, you'll be more efficient, more effective when you do that. Right? There's a reason that I don't have a lot of calls, if ever, past about 3:30 in the afternoon every day. I really don't. And you might say, well, Matt, that's because you own your own business. I would say, not really. It's because I've chosen to do so. I used to do this in the corporate world, right? Where if my kid had a game I wanted to go to or a practice, or we had to start running people around, I was going to be there because I wanted to, because I saw the importance of it. Now, you don't have to leave at 3:30 every day, but for me, 3:30 opens up like opportunity for me then to finish some things up so I can go do those things. So I can get work done before I go do those things. So setting those boundaries that we have the ability and power to do. That's why I wanted to talk so much about this today with you and give you this permission to go do that. Try it. Just take one afternoon this week and do something different with it. Take one morning this week, do something different with it. And watch the results stack up, personally and professionally. Just watch the results stack up. I'm telling you, game changer. Game changer. If you don't take the time, you'll never have the time. You want to get good at golf? If you don't take the time, you'll never have the time. You want to build a great relationship with your husband or wife? If you don't take the time, you'll never make it happen. That's why this is so important. So that's the topic for today. I think you know what you need to do. Look at your priorities. Look at the way you're structured your day. Challenge it. Start small. Don't think you got to rework the whole next 6 months. Just take the next week and say, what's one or two things that I can fit in or shift or change to start spending more time with yourself, or shift a priority that you can accomplish more. That's my challenge to you. So listen, I appreciate, you have no idea how much I appreciate you listening to my Soapbox Sunday moment, for me getting on, just preaching today and just really passionately sharing with you what's on my mind and what I see. And because I just know the power that's within every single one of us. And I want to pass that power on to you. So with that, have an amazing, amazing rest of your day and week. Go absolutely crush it. Go make the most of it. And I will see you on the next podcast episode. Have a fabulous day. Thank you for joining us today on the Matt Phillips Podcast. If you are like us, we know that you are here to do great things, to become the sales leader that makes things happen and drives big time sales results. We know you have that big vision, and we are here to help get you where you want to go. We're here to help you develop that unstoppable, rock solid leadership skill set and help you train to master the one true differentiator: mental toughness. We would love to be part of your journey. So if you are ready, head over to mattphillipscoaching.com and check out the ways that we can help. As always, please share this episode and make sure you subscribe by clicking the button below. Thank you again. And now, go crush the day.